looking at facts about the coronavirus, where it originated, and what world leaders are saying about it. Right now, we are going to also the American president had to also point out in his speech as he was being interviewed by journalists way back. So the facts that China knew about the virus are what we are going to be discussing right now. Fact number one, we know that China knew about the virus. We know that the virus originated from a live animal market in Wuhan, which is in China. That's why I call it the Chinese virus. We know that China suppressed all this information. It did not share with the countries. As you would hear in the video, the American president said, we know for a fact that China did not take action quickly even when the virus broke out. Got knowledge that there was a virus on the loose. On top of not informing the other countries, the CDC, people to get prepared, the right precaution, like closing the province, locking down the province so that the virus can be contained. It is estimated that 5 million people left Wuhan even after China knew about the virus in Wuhan. That brings me to my other fact that China knowingly exported the virus to other nations. The Wuhan people traveled to nations like Australia, Indonesia, Malaysia, North Korea, Singapore, and others, leaving small cells of this virus that they had spread, which have grown into a cluster bomb. I'm going to say the word I was about to say. So, that have blown up to kill thousands and thousands of people. We know for a fact that China did not put restrictions on travels of their people. We know for a fact that this happened during the lunar holiday. China knew earlier than even people think. The world got to know about the virus after China had failed to control it. We know that the virus was spread. China got to know about the virus in November last year, and the other nations got to know about the virus in January. Did not inform other nations, and they got to know about this because it had already started spreading. That's how they got to know about it. That's when they started asking questions. What happened? How did you do it? And China already had a head start about the virus. That's why China was the first country to produce all this technology, this what, all of this because it had the head start. It already knew about the virus. It had got enough time with the virus to study it, to now it moved, now it spreads, to know everything about it. So China needs to be held accountable for all the millions, the thousands of people that have died. World leaders need to step up and hold China accountable. This was no coincidence. Someone somewhere made a mistake, and we know where this person is, and we know who it is. So, world leaders, you need to come up, step up for once for your people. This has nothing to do with politics. This has nothing to do with money, and it's about your people. So, step up. Hold China accountable for the crimes committed against humanity. This is a serious crime. Thousands of people have died from this virus. Economies have been brought down. Let's watch the video together and see what the President of the US has to say.
I would like to begin by announcing some important developments in our war against the Chinese virus.
Why do you keep...
There you go. He calls it the Chinese virus. We'd like to begin by announcing the war against the Chinese virus, and the journalist is asking him why.
This the Chinese virus. There are
From China. I want to be accurate.
Yeah. And when he was asked why he calls it the Chinese virus, he told them the fact that I already told you about. It's from China. Everybody knows that the virus originated from the Wuhan live animal market in China. What's there to us is from China. Let's watch.
No, China tried to say at one point, maybe they stopped now, that it was caused by American soldiers. That can't happen. It's not going to happen, not as long as I'm president. It comes from China. We have to help.
Wow, wow. After all of this, still China looked for a way of blaming it on someone. And these were the American soldiers. I guess this is what pissed off the American president. This is what pissed off Donald Trump, to say that, to come out with the very same facts that I'm talking about, the very same facts that everybody knows. This is not news to anybody. Everyone knows these facts. Everyone knows the facts. It's not news to anybody. So they try to pin it on the US Army. I think that didn't work out. Let's keep watching.
Everybody. It was nobody's fault. This happened. I mean, some people could say it was somebody's fault, actually, but it was nobody's fault.
You're right, Mr. President. I say it is someone's fault, and that whoever it is has to be held accountable, and that's China.
I think we're doing a really good job. We started off with a termination of the border, the people coming in from China, where this all started. That meant I took it very seriously.
Talking about China, you've been very clear about who you think is to blame or where the origins of blame for this virus is.
Not think. No. I don't think. I know who we're.
Wow. The journalists keep trying to downplay the fact that he should not say the virus is from China, the virus is Chinese, the virus, but he's sticking to his word. I know where the virus originated from. He does not just think it is from China. It is from China, that's for a fact. Where are you going to say that everyone knows the virus originated from the Wuhan live animal market? That's where the outbreak began. You're not going to say it began in Italy. We don't know how many people have died before even the world could know the name of the virus that was killing people in China. We don't know that. So, please, let's stick to the facts. Let's stick to the facts for once. Let's not try to downplay this, to look for people to blame, to look for anyone to blame. Stick with the facts.
What came from. I don't know if you'd say China's to blame. Certainly we didn't get an early run on it. It would have been helpful if we knew about it earlier. But it comes from China, and it's not a question about that. Nobody's questioning that.
Thank you, Mr. President. It comes from China. They would have had an early run on it if they had known earlier. Had China informed them in January when it first detected the virus, other countries would have prepared for it. They would have taken measures, precautions. China hid information. Remember, China slammed doors on countries that first closed their borders. It was so angry at these countries that first closed their borders, saying the virus is from China, until it was wide open, the cat was fully out of the bag, that other countries, everyone realized that really, following the facts, that really the virus is from China. Then they started taking the precautions, which was already too late. But if China had told them earlier, thousands of people would not have died. That's my point. That is my point. Thousands of people would not have died if China had not only used its ego to want to become a superpower, to want to become a first world, to want to become the only one. Let's watch more.
Cotton is saying that they should be punished, in so many words, for inflicting this on the American people. Do you feel that way about it?
Well, I have a lot of respect for Tom Cotton, and I know exactly what he's been saying. And there are those people that say that. So we'll see what happens.
Do you believe that China is inflicting this upon our country?
No, I don't believe they're inflicting. I think they could have given us a lot earlier notice. Absolutely.
At least one, using the term Chinese virus, that could.
I wanted to pause before, but I couldn't. I wanted you to first hear this. Generally say, do you think using the term Chinese virus, that one we already got about that, saying Tom Cook has been saying that China needs to be held accountable. Amen to that. At least I'm not the only one. Already the president knows the fact that China spread the virus. Let the virus spread. Right? So, and he says we are going to see, they are going to see about that. That's the American term of saying someone has to pay for something. Amen to that too. Only when it is actually put into action. Because really, someone has to pay for this. We have to stop this madness. You know? Everyone remembers the SARS virus in 2015. It is estimated that 37 countries were infected by Chinese people. 37. That is how clumsy and careless the Chinese government is when it comes to viruses. Let's go back a little. The virus itself, this Chinese virus, the coronavirus, COVID-19, during January is when they have their lunar holidays. Chinese are moving from home, from town to village, country to country. It's when they travel too much. It is the world's, they call it the world's biggest migration. It is estimated that 450 million Chinese travelers from China to move around the world, country to country. Remember, China discovered the virus in November last year, and this lunar holiday happens in January. So already the virus is there, but China is still letting people move on. Countries have, after all countries discovered the virus, they suspended everything. Schools, tourism, hotels, everything, bars, entertainment, everything. People have lost jobs, people have lost families, people have lost a lot of things, you know. That is why, actually, that is where my anger is being driven from. Servicemen, army men are sick, police officers are sick, medics are sick, the elders are sick, kids are sick, wives are sick, mothers are sick, teachers are sick, and no one still wants to hold China accountable. No one wants to get some answers from why China did this. Maybe you know the world leaders, but educating the masses is part of your job too. We need to know why they did this. Let's watch the end.
Asian Americans at risk, that people might target them.
No, not at all. I think they probably would agree with it 100%. It comes from China. There's nothing not to agree. Okay, how about the last question?
Thank you, Mr. President. He concludes his statement, his speech, by saying it comes from China. It comes from China. Now, everybody knows this. World leaders know it comes from China today, and it has killed thousands and thousands of people. So, please stay tuned in to Henry's Network for more videos like this, and we are going to find out. We are going to carry on this investigation to the last point down. We will know how China is benefiting from this. We will know who is benefiting alongside it. We will know what world leaders are doing to hold Chinese government accountable for letting the virus spread like a wildfire, killing thousands of people. We will know what they are willing to do about it. We will know, do they agree? We will have to know whether they agree or not. We will know more. We will know what China is planning. Right now, China is trying to cover its footsteps. We will also know how in the next videos. So please stay tuned